A wild horse, abandoned to the point of having forgotten what love is. Its wounds are not only physical but tear at its very soul. At the same time, a trainer, having failed at everything, has given up on it all. Until they cross paths. Can you even imagine what will happen next? Can that wild horse heal the heart of a broken man? Can a soul shattered beyond repair find itself again through faith in a creature that seems impossible to tame? This is not just a story of patience, it's about the power of faith, unconditional love, and redemption that transcends all boundaries. What happens when a wild spirit meets a shattered heart? Join me as we explore this emotional, dramatic, and heart-stopping story. Under the vast, unforgiving sky of the Wild West, endless dry fields stretch out, where dust swirls in every direction and the wind carries a chill of silence. This land, harsh and relentless, doesn't just reflect the isolation of those who live here, it symbolizes the difficult journey they must endure. The setting sun casts a faint golden glow over the barren fields, making the already quiet landscape feel even more haunting and desolate. In the midst of this vast emptiness stands Jack Saunders. No longer a young man brimming with hope, Jack is now middle-aged, his face lined with deep wrinkles, a testament to a life filled with struggle and unforgettable failure. Once a renowned horse trainer, respected and sought after for his ability to tame even the wildest horses, Jack's world fell apart after the devastating accident with Titan, the horse he cherished most. The guilt over Titan's injury shattered him, and he lost all faith in himself. Jack retreated to this isolated land, far from judgment, where he could escape the painful memories of his past. Yet, despite abandoning everything, the fire of his passion for horses still burned within him. Jack continued to train, not for fame or recognition, but because part of him still believed. And then came Thunder, wild, fierce, and broken. Thunder was a horse that everyone feared. Its eyes were piercing, filled with an intensity that could tear through anyone who dared approach. Each time someone tried to get close, Thunder would rear up on its hind legs, stomping the earth, its deafening whinny a clear warning to stay away. With every step, it seemed as though a storm was on the verge of erupting. Thunder didn't simply resist, it radiated fury and hostility, forcing those who came too close to back away in fear. But Thunder's wild nature didn't come from birth. It had been forged by a painful past. Abused by previous owners, it was forced to work under harsh conditions, treated as nothing more than a tool. The cruel lashes and endless labor stripped away its trust in humans, and now, its resistance wasn't just a reaction, it was the final defense of a wounded soul. Jack knew that taming Thunder wasn't just about conquering the horse. It was about confronting his own wounds, the ones that mirrored Thunder's. This wasn't just a story about a man and a horse, it was the story of two broken souls seeking to heal each other, to find redemption together. Jack had to face not only Thunder, but also the doubts from those around him and the fear within himself. With every failure, he asked himself, could he overcome not just the resistance of the horse, but also the deep-seated doubts about his own abilities? When Jack decided to confront Thunder, he knew the journey ahead wouldn't be easy. The other trainers, once his colleagues, now mocked his methods. "Your methods are outdated," they said. "This horse is too stubborn. You can't change it." Those mocking words weren't just an attack on Jack's pride, but also a trial of his self-belief. Every time he failed, every time Thunder rejected him, he wondered, can I really do this? But Jack didn't stop. He knew this wasn't just a battle between man and horse, but a battle within himself. Could he overcome the doubts, the criticisms, and find a way to connect with Thunder? These questions were the true struggle Jack had to face, not just for success, but for self-belief. Every time Jack moved toward Thunder, the horse reacted with overwhelming defiance. Thunder didn't just shy away, it pushed back fiercely. Its hooves stomped the ground, its eyes filled with distrust. Every action from Thunder wasn't just about resistance, it was a reflection of the pain it had endured. Jack realized that Thunder wasn't just a wild horse, it was a creature scarred by its past, a creature that had learned to survive by fighting back. Each rejection was a defense mechanism, a way to shield itself from being hurt again. Thunder wasn't just stubborn, it was broken. Jack didn't step back. He understood that the key wasn't control, it was patience, understanding, and slowly building trust. The more Thunder resisted, the more Jack was determined to break through that wall of fear. As Jack spent more time with Thunder, he began to piece together the horse's painful history. The stories he heard from locals slowly revealed the truth. Thunder wasn't always this way. It had once been a proud and strong stallion, but its previous owner had been cruel. Thunder had been forced to work tirelessly, abused and beaten, stripped of love and care. This abuse left deep scars, not just physical, but emotional. Jack realized that Thunder's resistance wasn't just out of stubbornness, it was a result of the deep trauma it had endured. Jack also realized that healing Thunder wouldn't be about breaking its spirit. It would be about rebuilding trust, offering the horse a chance to heal from its past, and showing Thunder that not all humans were the same. With each failed attempt to connect with Thunder, Jack found himself grappling with his own doubts. Could he really change this horse? Could he help it trust again? These weren't just questions about success, they were questions about Jack himself. Every time Thunder rejected him, Jack questioned his own worth, his own ability. The mocking voices of the community, the doubts creeping into his own heart, they all started to weigh him down. What if he wasn't good enough? What if he couldn't make a difference? But with each setback, Jack realized something important: he couldn't give up. This wasn't just about Thunder. It was about Jack proving to himself that he could overcome his fears, his self-doubt. If he didn't trust himself, how could he expect Thunder to trust him? Jack was fighting not just for the horse, but for his own redemption. He couldn't let the past, the failures, or the doubts define him. He had to believe in his ability to make a difference, not just for Thunder, but for himself. Slowly, Jack began to notice small changes in Thunder. The horse wasn't reacting with such violent resistance anymore. There were moments when Thunder stood still, allowing Jack to get a little closer, not because it was submitting, but because it was starting to trust. Jack wasn't controlling Thunder, he was guiding it. With each moment of hesitation from the horse, Jack understood that this wasn't about breaking it, it was about building a connection, one step at a time. For the first time, Jack felt like they were on the same journey. The changes were subtle, but they were real. Jack was beginning to believe that this wasn't just about taming Thunder, it was about healing both Thunder and himself. One evening, Jack made another attempt to approach Thunder, but the horse suddenly bolted. Jack's heart raced as Thunder galloped away, not in anger, but in desperation, as if running from everything that had ever hurt it. Jack had one choice: chase it down or let it slip away forever. For a moment, Jack hesitated. This wasn't just about the horse anymore, it was about Jack confronting his own deepest fears. Could he keep chasing Thunder, or would his own self-doubt and fear cause him to give up? But Jack didn't stop. He ran after Thunder, pushing through the pain, the doubt, the fear. As he ran, he understood that this chase wasn't just about catching the horse, it was about proving to himself that he could overcome the internal struggles that had held him back for so long. This wasn't just about Thunder, it was about Jack's ability to believe in himself. Just as Jack thought he was about to lose Thunder forever, something unexpected happened. The horse, after galloping for what felt like an eternity, slowed down. Jack stopped, breathless, as Thunder came to a halt. The horse turned and faced Jack, its eyes no longer filled with anger, but with something else, uncertain trust. For the first time, Thunder wasn't running away. It wasn't rejecting Jack. It was choosing to stand still, to face him. And Jack stood there, not moving, not forcing the horse to come closer. He realized that this wasn't about control. It was about patience, about giving Thunder the space to trust. In that moment, Jack understood, he didn't need to conquer Thunder, he needed to let it trust him. And just like that, the bond between them began to form. With each passing day, Jack realized more and more that trust wasn't only built through patience, but also through sacrifice. But what awaited them ahead would test them in ways neither of them had ever imagined. Jack was no longer just a trainer. He had become Thunder's companion, someone who wouldn't give up and wouldn't force. Each moment of silence, every gentle step toward the horse, Jack gradually built trust. But Thunder's change wasn't just about actions, it was about a shift in emotion, from fear to acceptance. Every time Thunder didn't run, every time its gaze softened instead of looking at Jack with suspicion, it was a sign that trust was beginning to form. This wasn't just a victory for Jack, it was a priceless reward he earned after months of patience and constant self-challenge. For Thunder to trust him, Jack had to show that he wasn't someone who would harm it. One day, as Jack was slowly approaching Thunder, the horse suddenly stood still, no longer anxious or avoiding him. The fear in Thunder's eyes gave way to a vague curiosity. But this wasn't simple acceptance. It was hesitant acceptance, a clear signal that Thunder still didn't fully trust Jack, but at least it no longer saw Jack as an enemy. Then, on a fateful day, when Jack was almost able to touch Thunder's back, the horse suddenly turned and rammed its body into a post, as if warning Jack. But instead of running away, Thunder stood still, its eyes softening, and it seemed to silently ask, "Can you help me?" This was a deeper breakthrough than Jack had ever hoped for. Thunder didn't run away, it started to actively communicate with Jack in a way it never had before. Looking at Thunder, Jack could no longer hide his emotions. These small moments made him realize that not only was the horse changing, but he too was changing. Every day, facing Thunder's fear and uncertainty, Jack learned to sacrifice himself, accepting temporary failures to help the horse heal. He had learned that patience wasn't just about waiting, it was about understanding and sacrificing for the progress of another, even if that other was a horse. But that feeling wasn't always easy. There were moments when Jack asked himself, "Can I really do this? Am I wrong to believe in my method?" The anxiety over past failures and the fear that all his efforts might fall apart weighed heavily on his heart. But then, when he saw Thunder beginning to trust him, the feeling of victory settled in. Jack understood that this wasn't just about healing the horse, it was about a change within himself. One foggy morning, as Jack was leading Thunder out for training, something unexpected happened. Thunder suddenly panicked and bolted, not in anger, but in deep fear. Jack didn't have time to react, and before he could stop it, Thunder ran into a dangerous part of the nearby forest. In that moment, Jack found himself facing a crucial decision: should he give up and retreat, or chase after the horse and risk everything to preserve the bond they had worked so hard to build? Without hesitation, Jack decided to pursue Thunder. He didn't just want to save the horse, he wanted to prove that he would never give up, no matter what happened. Entering the forest, amidst the tangled branches and dim light, Jack saw Thunder standing still, its eyes locked onto his, as if a silent understanding had passed between them. In that moment, Thunder suddenly used its strength to save Jack from a rushing stream that had begun to swell. No words were exchanged, but Thunder's action was a sacrifice, and it was also a sign of complete acceptance. In that instant, Jack felt a profound shift. Their relationship had truly become an inseparable friendship. After that moment, Jack realized that his relationship with Thunder was no longer just about training and learning. It was a connection between two souls, a profound understanding without words. They had both been on a long journey, overcoming fear and doubt, and now, they had truly become companions, sharing every challenge together. As the bond between Jack and Thunder solidified, a real challenge awaited them. The competition was not only a place where they would face external expectations, but also a moment to prove themselves. All the doubts and fears surrounding both Jack and Thunder would be tested to their limits, and now, only trust and determination would guide them through. The day of the big competition had arrived, where the top trainers from all over the industry gathered to showcase their skills. The atmosphere was filled with excitement, but also laced with disdain. Whispers floated through the air, and eyes full of skepticism and mockery turned toward Jack and Thunder. The crowd could not believe that Thunder, a horse once severely scarred by humans, could ever participate in such a prestigious event. To them, Thunder was too wild, too strong, and uncontrollable in an official competition. "Look at that, it's Jack and his wild horse," one trainer muttered, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "That horse will never be trained enough to compete in this race. Just wait, they're only here to fail." These derisive words echoed around the arena, and Jack felt the weight of them. Everyone was waiting for his and Thunder's inevitable failure. But Jack didn't come here to win or lose. He came to prove that the bond between him and Thunder had surpassed the limits that society, and even he, once thought impossible. He didn't need a trophy or the approval of outsiders. This was a journey of trust, struggle, and friendship, one that only he and Thunder truly understood. As the race began, Jack stood beside Thunder, feeling the steady breath of the horse beneath his hand. Thunder, with its sharp eyes and powerful frame, showed no signs of worry or fear. It stood tall, like a warrior prepared for the biggest battle of its life. Everything around them seemed to fade away, and only the two of them remained. Yet, deep inside Jack, a storm of fear about failure continued to simmer. But Jack didn't let the jeering whispers or skeptical gazes affect him. He looked into Thunder's eyes and felt the deep connection between them. Every movement of Thunder, every step taken, felt like a strong promise, a commitment to success. Thunder's gaze, cold yet full of resolve, seemed to say to Jack, "We can do this. Together." There was no doubt, no fear. Thunder stood tall, ears pricked forward, like a warrior ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Nothing could make it back down. Jack felt the steadiness in Thunder's every breath. The calm confidence from the horse radiated through his hand, spreading into his own body, and each step they took together was a bond that couldn't be broken. There was no anxiety, no fear, only the strength and resolve of these two companions. Everything around them seemed to lose importance, only Jack and Thunder remained, facing every challenge together. Jack gazed into Thunder's eyes once more and whispered with a soft smile, "We've got this. Trust each other." Thunder didn't respond with words, but its eyes, and the subtle movement of its body, spoke volumes. It was ready. A moment of stillness surrounded them, with no words spoken, no noise from the crowd, only the profound, silent connection between human and horse. As the competition entered its crucial stages, Jack felt an overwhelming sense of nostalgia flood his heart. The painful memories of the past surged back like a violent wave, making it impossible for him to focus. He remembered the failure, the time he had trained another horse, a strong one that he had placed all his trust in, only to eventually have to let go. That horse couldn't overcome its deep wounds, and as a result, it fought back fiercely, forcing Jack to give up his training career because he couldn't bear the weight of that failure. The pain from that experience never fully faded. Every time he saw a horse, the feelings of fear and self-doubt would rise up within him. Could he do it this time? Would Thunder be as ready as he had hoped, or would it rebel just like the previous horse, unable to bear the weight of its own past? All of Jack's doubts surged like crashing waves, threatening to drown him in worry and fear. But at that moment, he looked at Thunder. The horse stood firm, its eyes full of determination, showing no signs of fear. Thunder was no longer rebelling as before. Instead of running away, instead of turning its back, this horse seemed to have overcome its own fears, just as Jack had to do. In that instant, a powerful shift took place inside Jack. He realized that his anxiety wasn't just about Thunder's abilities, but also a struggle within himself, between the painful past and the hopeful present. Jack carried the fear of failure, but Thunder, just like him, had learned not to give up, had learned to move past the wounds of the past. And in this moment, the two of them found a profound connection, not through control but through collaboration and mutual understanding. Everything changed in an instant. Jack no longer had to face his inner fears. The fear subsided. Not only had Thunder changed, but he had too, from a horse trainer trying to control, to a companion, a friend who understood that the real key wasn't victory but deep understanding and patience in this journey. Together, Jack and Thunder were not just participating in this competition. They were reaching for a new peak, not just in skill, but in an emotional breakthrough in how they saw each other and the world around them. This collaboration was no longer a confrontation between two adversaries, but a connection, an understanding between two companions, one horse and one trainer, overcoming every challenge together, exploring Thunder's past and the deepening connection. As the competition continued, every eye was on Jack and Thunder. But what no one expected was the profound shift in their relationship. Thunder, the horse once considered wild and uncontrollable, suddenly performed an unexpected move. As Jack gently guided Thunder through the course, the horse didn't just follow orders, it began to adjust its steps, almost as if it were communicating with Jack in a delicate and profound way. Its movements were no longer stiff or resistant, but each step conveyed a harmony, an understanding between horse and rider. This horse wasn't just obeying, it seemed to have felt the bond between them. The rhythmic steps, the subtle turns of its head, and the synchronized movements of its body with Jack all demonstrated the incredible partnership they now shared. Thunder was no longer a wild creature, disconnected from its surroundings. It had become a being that understood itself, and more importantly, understood that its relationship with Jack was not just that of trainer and horse, but of two companions navigating challenges together. The onlookers, who had previously mocked and dismissed Thunder, were now stunned into silence. The mocking laughter and the contemptuous glares they once shared turned into shock and awe. No one could believe what they were witnessing. Thunder, the horse they had once deemed impossible to train, was now working in perfect harmony with Jack, displaying calmness and confidence. For them, the relationship between Jack and Thunder was no longer a battle, it was a connection that could not be broken. Thunder wasn't just following Jack's commands. It had found understanding in this partnership, showing empathy and a deep connection with its companion. It was no longer a horse scarred by past mistakes, it was a horse that knew that only through cooperation could it overcome fear and doubt. This moment, this breakthrough in Thunder's transformation, created a huge emotional impact. All the derision and doubt from before vanished, replaced by amazement, admiration, and a silent acknowledgement from the crowd. They saw a horse that was no longer a creature to be controlled, but a true companion, a friend who had learned to trust, not just Jack, but itself as well. For Jack, this was an incomparable victory. He looked at Thunder, and in its eyes, he saw no more doubt, no more worry. What he saw was a companion ready to face all the challenges, not just for itself, but for both of them. This moment wasn't about winning or losing in the competition, it was about the connection they had built through all their struggles. Thunder didn't just follow commands, it had found freedom in collaboration with Jack, and the understanding between them left the crowd in disbelief. Their bond was no longer just about training, it was a true connection, a friendship that could withstand any challenge, ready to fight for each other until the end. In this moment, they weren't just in the competition to win, they were there to prove that the bond between them, man and horse, was unbeatable, overcoming all doubts and mockery from before. As the bond between Jack and Thunder grew stronger, a true test awaited them. The competition wasn't just a place to face the external expectations, it was also an opportunity for them to prove themselves. At this moment, only trust and determination would carry them through every doubt and fear. At last, Jack and Thunder triumphed in the competition, but this victory wasn't simply about physical accomplishment. What mattered more was the shift in how people viewed Jack's methods of training. On the track, all the doubts, all the mockery from before had completely faded, replaced with admiration and recognition. Jack hadn't come here to win a prize, he came to prove that the relationship he and Thunder had built, founded on trust and respect, could overcome all challenges. Looking at Thunder, Jack felt a deep sense of peace and resilience in every step the horse took. This wasn't just a physical victory, it was a victory in his heart and in the bond between man and animal, a triumph no one ever thought possible. When the competition ended, the trainers who had once ridiculed Jack and Thunder couldn't deny the remarkable transformation they had witnessed. One of them approached Jack, his eyes filled with surprise and respect. "I was wrong, Jack. Your method really works. This goes beyond anything I imagined." Jack wasn't seeking recognition from them. But in that moment, he felt a deep sense of relief. Not because he won the competition, but because he had proven that trust and patience were the keys to victory. He had not only changed Thunder's life but had also reshaped the way the community viewed horse training. However, this victory wasn't without its inner struggles. Standing amidst the crowd, a strange feeling welled up in Jack. Everything had changed, but could he truly feel complete with what he had achieved? Every moment in this journey, from the long hours of training to standing on the winner's podium, had pushed him into a confrontation with himself. Did I get too caught up in the goal and forget what really mattered? Jack wondered within himself. Despite his triumph, he realized that he also had to learn how to face the changes within his own heart. Looking at Thunder standing beside him, Jack realized that this victory wasn't just the result of a competition, it was a symbol of transformation, a deep connection between two beings who had faced countless trials together. Thunder was no longer just a wild horse, it was a companion, one who had placed its trust in him, and in return, Jack had learned to trust not just the horse, but himself as well. All the mockery, all the doubts they had faced during the training had faded away. Instead, there was recognition, not just from the community, but from Jack himself. He understood that victory wasn't the final goal, it was the process of change, of growing together, that truly mattered. As the noise of the competition began to fade, Jack stood beside Thunder, not just to bask in their victory, but to truly understand what mattered most in their journey. It wasn't about the competition, nor the finish line, or the trophy. It was the shift in how they saw themselves and how the world around them had changed. This was the moment to reflect on the long road they had traveled and all that they had learned together. And from this moment, a profound lesson began to take root in Jack's heart. As the light dimmed after the competition, Jack didn't feel the triumphant joy of victory, but instead, a sense of peace and pride in the long journey he and Thunder had shared. What Jack truly grasped in that moment was that their victory wasn't solely about the outcome of the competition, but about the transformation they had both undergone. Through each step, through every moment of confronting fear, Jack and Thunder had forged an unbreakable bond, one built on friendship and mutual respect. Jack had not only helped Thunder overcome its fears but, in turn, had learned how to overcome the limits he had placed on himself. He understood that his connection with Thunder wasn't merely a battle of training, it was a journey of mutual understanding, where they healed old wounds together and built trust and patience along the way. The story of Jack and Thunder serves as a reminder of the power of patience and respect in all relationships, not just between humans and animals, but in every relationship in life. In a world so often obsessed with control, winning, and dominance, we sometimes forget that true success lies in patience, empathy, and trust. Jack and Thunder prove that nothing is more precious than a genuine connection, one built on mutual understanding. No hardship, no challenge could break their bond, because they had learned to trust each other, and in doing so, had learned to trust themselves as well. With Thunder by his side, Jack understood that victory was not the end of the journey. It was but one moment in the long road they had traveled together. And in life, true victory isn't about surpassing others or reaching the final goal. It's about the growth within ourselves, the ability to learn, love, and trust, not only in others, but also in ourselves. In the end, victory is not where we arrive, but who we become along the journey.